It's got to be in the owl's nest, right?
Mic check,
Oh, we're
mic
in
check,
the owl's
testing,
nest.
testing. 1,
There
2,
we go.
3.
Okay.
Tweet, tweet.
And
Hey,
there we are. We did
it. Hey, welcome everybody to
We
another
did it.
episode of Live from the Owl's Nest. We are live in Orlando, Florida at the Scaling New Heights Conference with another guest.
Yay.
Everybody say hi to Allison.
Welcome to Alice.
Hi, everyone.
So I'm Alicia.
I'm Jamie.
And I'm Allison Ball,
Yeah.
otherwise known as, can I get it in camera?
There you
Yep.
Alicia.
That is the funniest shirt. Allison is with Licio, and we're here at Scaling New Heights 2022 in Orlando, and coming to you live from the exhibit hall. I think we have the sound a little more dialed in than we did yesterday, so hopefully you can all hear us
apologize
a
about
little
the
better.
technical
Let us
difficulties.
know.
in the exhibit hall.
Yeah. And I'm just delighted to have Allison join us. That Allison was actually the person who got me started in this whole trajectory that I've been on. I showed up in 2015 with a book that I had written.
And it was off the hook. I remember that book. It was amazing.
Thank
It was
you.
amazing. Yeah.
I had I was talking to Seth David,
Mhm.
and talking about like becoming a trainer and becoming more higher profile. He said, well, you have to talk to Allison Ball. And I'm like, well, how am I going to find somebody that I don't even know what they look like? And so I went into the main stage shortly after that, and I'm like, how am I going to find somebody named Allison Ball? And there's these people in the row right in front of me, like tweeting everything that was said on screen and taking pictures and tweeting it out and taking pictures and tweeting it out. And I'm like, what are they doing? And it was my first conference. And I kind of peeked over and I saw the username, and it was you. It was
Allison and
Ball.
Intuit. Yeah, Allison and Intuit was my Twitter handle. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, not only did I find her, I'm sitting right next to her.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That is so funny. Yeah, I knew things that was so fun for me at Intuit was meeting these people like you, Alicia, who are so incredibly talented and so generous with your knowledge and helping and like just figuring out what you guys wanted to do and then using Intuit's enormous platform to give you that kind of stage, whether it was a virtual stage or whether it was an actual stage or whether it was, exposing people to your books. There was always this amazing conversation that we could have about what your goals were and who you wanted to reach. And I always, you remember, what did I tell you when you first started with me? It's a little bit of a test.
That you could
I can't make you rich,
but
I
you
can
make
make you famous.
Right.
And I had to do that because we didn't have huge budgets, right? And the program that I was developing wasn't really about, we didn't even really understand. I think in 2015 we were starting to understand, but when I first started at Intuit in late 2004, we certainly didn't understand that we were creating an influencer program. And so there wasn't really that word. And influencer marketing wasn't a thing.
Right.
Like you would pay people to do main stage, but then there wasn't like that relationship afterwards. And what I wanted to do was to create a program where like the vision that Rich Walker and Leslie Merson and Donna Duncan and Donna Oman and Jason Stein, I'm kind of going in the Wayback Machine. Hopefully you'll remember some of these. And some of these folks are still into it. So this is really awesome. But that vision was to create this environment where it was like peer led. Like we called it the power of the peer. And so that we've just never wavered from that. Like Intuit hasn't, and the work I'm doing now, it's the same concept. And I think Scaling New Heights is a perfect example of the power of the peer. So that was just super fun. Right. I actually thought, because I don't have a brain, I was like, because I was preparing for this morning as I was brushing my teeth, and I was thinking, when did we meet?
Right.
So I'm glad that you told me it was 2015, because I would have actually pegged it earlier than that.
Well, to give you some long-term perspective on that, even here in the booth at this conference, people are walking by, and one of the first things we have to say is, do you know Alicia, or have you seen Alicia, or whatever?
Yeah.
And some of them are like, oh yeah, I follow her online, I see her all the time online or whatever. And some of them are like, I don't think I do. And then I point at her big picture back here,
and they're like,
oh,
I know her.
That one, so not rich, but famous.
Oh yeah. And your gas station, honestly, if any of you are doing work for gas stations and convenience stores, you have to buy Alicia's book. It is unbelievable. I couldn't believe all the things that you did in QuickBooks Online to trick it out, to make all those things happen. I was just like, what?
And not to mention, we have a custom template that you can buy to get started with.
Oh,
Yes.
it was
So-
crazy. It was crazy. So if any of you are doing that as a niche, or do we say niche or niche?
Yes.
Sure.
The
Tomato.
niche or niche. Right.
Tomato, potato. Yeah.
Nobody says tomato though.
You're right.
They
nobody-
do.
nobody
They do
says-
in the
Says
UK.
tomato.
There are a few people here who say
I
tomato.
think that's why that's followed up with
Tomato.
let's call the whole thing off.
Right.
Tomato.
Well, and it's funny what you said about how Intuit had this group of influencers, that you really did something special with it, because there was the camaraderie of it, but there
Mhm.
was also the encouragement of taking whatever your unique take is or whatever your unique talent is and getting that word out there.
Sharing it with
And-
the world. And that was the cool thing about being, well, there was so many cool things about being at Intuit. However, I think for me personally, with that vision of creating this network of, by the way, it was actually, I think it was Jason and David Horowitz who named it the Trainer Writer Network, because I think that name sucks. Sorry, just
It says what it is.
I know, it
It's
says
the
what it is
script.
on the tin.
Another exclusive scoop here live in the OWLS Nest. We are breaking
it was
news
originally
every
the
day.
Intuit Speakers Bureau, which I thought was much sexier, but it didn't.
The Intuit Speakers
but,
Bureau.
But what it didn't do, what that name didn't do, was it wasn't inclusive of the writers.
the writers, and there's so many people who are publishing.
So I
there.
get it. But anyways, when we were stuck with TWN, and I was like, okay, all right, it's got some brand. We got to go with TWN.
It's like an
all right.
airport, right? Yeah. Hey, come on down. We're going to take off from TWN.
Well, with that project, you built a community, but you also built a team of evangelists, like people who are really enthusiastic about the product and what we were doing
Yeah.
and getting the word out there. And when they let you go, we all went.
Oh,
How
yeah.
short-sighted was
oh,
that?
Oh,
Because
yeah. It
you
was
were-
like,
I honestly think that you were hugely responsible for the trajectory of the company and the huge success and the
Oh my
growth
gosh.
of the company.
oh
Like,
no.
I think
That
it-
was no. I
Yes.
know.
Yes.
Well, oh my
yes,
gosh. Wow.
because
Thank
you
you.
sat in front of a team of how many of us? Like 200 of us?
Yeah.
Something like
There's
that?
200 worldwide. Well, at the time, I mean, I'm
Right.
going, maybe I've been gone nearly 2 years from Intuit, which
Right.
has gone so fast. No, everything. Oh gosh, when that happened, you have to understand that it was a moment in time where there was a lot of uncertainty, and so we had just the whole COVID thing had just started. Like, it was like we had the lockdown in early March, and then the day that I was let go was the sort of it was June. It was I don't have a great linear brain. It was sometime in June, sometime
Right.
third week of June. Can't remember the day. And the way that Intuit does these, these things is it's very cool. You get 2 months. And so they give you they always do it on a Friday, and then you have the weekend to kind of oh wow, right? In my case, I was luckily I had hikes planned and I had all these outdoor things planned, and I was like, all right, okay. Might have drunk a few scotches and sort of went, whoa, what is okay? But I never thought that anything bad would come out of it. And it's just kind of my attitude kind of towards life. I always think, all right, what and it's so funny because I'm reading this book right now called What If This Was Enough? And it's by
Diana.
Heather Havriletsky is the author. And I'm only one chapter in, literally one chapter, and I bought it in the airport to read. And I'm kind of re-examining my whole concept of this relentless positivism that I actually live that way. I'm not making it up.
You are
that
relentlessly positive.
really literally is in my DNA.
Coming from the most hopeful person that we know.
I know, right? I know you also. It's so funny. But there are these dark moments, right? And so now I'm kind of looking at, okay, I've always viewed a dark moment as, all right, this is dark, this is awful. Okay, this happened, and then I don't go to it was my fault. I just never have. I've been like, okay, what can I learn about this? Whatever. I had really open-minded parents who were they would always ask these questions about, well, they would open it. Well, how does this make you feel? And, well, what do you think you're going to do? Come back and talk to us when you have some ideas, sort of thing. So it was we had this sort of attitude of our family that things were going to happen, and then what we learned from it. And then, so I kind of took that forward, and there have been some really awful things that have happened in my life. I have not had a perfect life in any way, shape, or form. However, always with hindsight. So this is this interesting thing. There's always this really major gift.
Mm-hmm. Always. Right.
You don't see it at the time.
Opportunity hidden right there in that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Right. You don't see it at the time. But then once then you're you wake up and you go, Okay,
Right.
there it is.
Right.
Right.
Like-
And for me, it was joining Licio. And I never thought that I would end up with an app. And that was just not even on my radar. But this 2 months that Intuit gave me, the first month you're doing this thing called Picture Catcher. And so it's like, oh, I've got the TWN, Mindy, can you catch it? And Mindy did. And so there was some other things, but we didn't have, remember, QuickBooks Connect wasn't happening because my role was global influencer programs. Global disappeared.
Right.
So I completely understand why Intuit made probably what was a very tough call.
Mm-hmm.
And, but I want also everybody to know that I had the opportunity to interview extensively internally during that first month, second month. And I decided to leave and find out what was out there.
Well, we actually offered her a job.
I do remember that.
I think everybody that knew her
everybody
offered
offered
her a job.
I do.
We were like, we're way too small potatoes, but we're like, that would be our fantasy.
We still got to put the hook in the water.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's so awesome. Yeah, and one of the things I considered, because there was a bunch of people that did come forward, and they were awesome. They were all awesome, like awesome people. And I thought, okay, could I be my own business owner?
Mm-hmm.
And I had done that a long time ago, like when I was a self-employed, bookkeeper, accountant, the things that you guys do, right, for your clients. And I just remember from me, it's good for me to have this experience because I just remember the stress of that. And like that kind of feast or famine, worrying about where you're going to get your client and stuff. And I thought, I can't, and then of course, unfortunately being a cancer survivor, the health insurance was super important to me. Mm-hmm. So that was always a factor.
Some chances you can't take.
That was a factor. Yep.
Well, speaking of this positivity sandwich,
you're in the middle,
right? I'm the meat in the sandwich. Tell us about what's going on now. How's things at Licio and where did it end up? Where you at?
Okay, so I during this 2 month period that I had to figure out what I was going to do, Joe Woodard actually introduced me to Chris. I think it was maybe day 4, and we probably talked. Chris will laugh. We probably 16 times or something like that. And we just kept talking. Mm-hmm. And I was like, gosh, I'm really falling in love with this company, and mostly with Chris's vision. Uh-huh. And then the fun thing is, we get to do stuff like this, right?
That shirt is
like
hysterical.
And Chris will be wearing his today, Chrisio. So if you get a picture of him, so some names work. Some names work better than others.
I don't think Jamie-O would work.
Jamie-O?
No.
Oh, no.
You'd be Alicio.
I would be Alicia.
We just take your name and then do an O at the end instead of an A.
Like
that's literally what, and we might slip an S in there, right? So, right.
Yeah. Like poor Spanglish. We can't do that.
It would be poor Spanglish. Yeah. Some names are made for it. I'm like, I gotta do. Yeah.
Right.
But the other thing we're doing is we're at this conference where we have so many users. Like there's a gajillion of them. We're getting the stories. And so it's so fun. And I think working for a smaller company, because we just crossed our 60th employee, like pretty small. And that includes the dev team. Like we're pretty small. Wow. Good number. But we, you can get things done really fast. And so that's one difference. Mm-hmm. But working at Intuit wasn't tremendously different because everybody at Intuit works with a little group of people. Like you might only work with 25 people. Right. So it didn't feel like hugely different. The big difference was the speed that we can execute and how quick you can make decisions. You got people in a room, boom, done, gone. Oh, okay. We're launched.
Right. Take a couple.
You know that. You
take a couple of those layers out.
You think of something over breakfast, and then by noon it's launched.
Well, I try to slow it down a little bit so we can pressure test things. Yeah. And
we're at the point where we have all the brilliant ideas, but we're only a team of 4.5. Yeah. And so it makes it harder because there's only so much we can do.
Yeah, so you need a TWN.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of like the whole evangelism.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing with our iPad drawing and our little owls.
The
owls are adorable.
Well,
oh my gosh.
Way, let me say this.
This needs to be a collectible series, by the way.
I saw you on the main stage day 1 on the opening ceremony.
That was fun.
And
are those adorable?
Super cute. And what else are you doing here at the conference?
We are mostly talking to people at we have actually 2 booths. That was a kind of a funny story. Because Rob Smith, everybody know Rob? OneNote Rob?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, everybody knows Rob. So Rob had a booth. Rob got a booth because he always exhibits here for his company, 0.7 seconds. And then Chris and Rob started talking, and then Rob joined Lisio. So he's now our head of technical content, which is really awesome because we've got somebody who really knows the 365 suite and then how Lisio would work with that and how you could use, I don't even know. It's so over my head.
So blending the whole Microsoft side with Lisio.
Yeah, and just how to use it, right?
Mhm.
Because like if you know how to use Microsoft and Microsoft Suite, there's so many things you can do. Right? The power is just like
He's a OneNote guru.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so he had a booth and then we had a booth and somehow we were left off the selection process for getting a booth. But last year and I finally emailed Rick Mayfield and I said, well, when's the booth selection? He goes, oh, we've already had it. I'm like, oh my gosh. And there was like nothing left. And so we were like, okay, so we actually have 2 booths. So we took over Rob's booth and we're like, all right, so there's 2 booths. So if you're feeling like there's some confusion, you're not confused.
Right.
There are actually 2 booths.
I'm gonna just one other confusion too. OneNote is actually part of the Office suite, and she didn't just call him a OneNote guru. He's the application OneNote, a guru about that application. It sounded funny. It just didn't sound right.
Yeah, it's not like a OneNote Johnny. That's a different thing, right? That's like somebody who only talks about one thing. Yeah, yeah. So we're announcing a new feature. We've already announced it, which is really amazing. We are embedding email inside Lisio, which allows email to become actionable and also visible to the team. Email's just been this big silo.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you I think the best use case is because you're going to get most of your clients to use Lisio because it's so easy. Like once you explain it and you show it, they're going to be like, oh, okay. And then Linda Artisani has this power move for the folks that won't. Do you guys know this power move?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's so good. And it doesn't for anything. It just applies for whatever secure system you're using. If your clients refuse to use your portal because maybe they don't like it or they refuse to use Lisio because they don't want another app, that's the one we maybe hear.
Mm-hmm.
You need to say to them, oh, okay, well, Jamie, you're refusing to use our secure system that we've put for you. And we as accountants and bookkeepers really care about security because, hey, guess what? It's a big, bad world out there. And email is the main way that breaches come in. People click links in an email. So since you're refusing to do this and you're continuing to send your documents by email, and we've got our portal that you can use if you want to use the portal. We've also got Lisio. And you can use that on your browser, your phone, we don't care, tablet, it's all works, whatever you're using. We're going to have you sign our security waiver. And in that security waiver, you're going to take full responsibility, personal responsibility. And you might want to check with your insurance broker because you'll need additional insurance for this.
That's an easy sell.
Right?
I'm going to need additional insurance.
I'm going to need additional insurance.
Linda was here yesterday, right?
Yeah, Linda was our guest yesterday.
But she didn't give us that power move because of microphone problems, I'm sure.
You know what? We need that one needs to be. And the funny thing is Linda only serves attorneys. And the guy's like, I'm not going to sell that. And she's like, okay, then you're using Lisio. Yeah. Or the portal. Yeah. You choose. He's like, I hate your portal. Okay, then you're using Lisio.
Yeah, compliance is
huge.
Monster.
Yeah. Huge. So embedding email inside of Lisio takes that last silo, right? Lisio already will significantly reduce clients texting you because if clients are texting you, they're telling you they want to work with you on their phone. Like end up. They're
already on their phone.
They're like, I'm on my phone and I want to work with you. So I'm going to text you. Yeah. So Lisio will shut that down. It'll also create a lot of visibility, tons of visibility for the team that you can't currently get. Like if I text you, you can't see it, right? And if I text you, what do you do with it? Or if I email you, you can't see it unless I copy you or you blind copy. Everybody goes crazy. But there are still some use cases where email is like an insurance agent. Mm-hmm. Let's say you're getting a policy for your client, and hey, and so here we got the policy. So you can put that inside Lisio. You can make an action out of it. Like I could give you a task and say, can you talk to Jamie about the security? Because he's like not on board. He needs to be hit with our security waiver.
I'm not on the positivity.
No, you're not a client who's out doing his own thing. Yeah. So that's huge. We've got some big advancements to payments. So payments are now inside Lisio, and it will actually, you can actually create the invoice through QBO in Lisio and then pay it in Lisio and it satisfies the receivable, does all that. There's a bunch of things. Out of office reply, which is our biggest feature request ever, which turns out to be not easy to do in an environment like we have with teams and service teams and all of that. So people can go and see see the design of that in over at Chris's booth. So we've got Chris and Brandon's booth and Emily and Allison's booth.
Okay.
Awesome.
The men and the
That's
women
awesome.
split up.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
want to take another look at it too. I mean, since we're not a firm,
Yeah.
originally I was like, well, I'm not sure I need it, but
Yeah.
we have so much client communication that I
Yeah.
think it would be worth us taking a look and seeing if it would actually
Yeah.
give us a one-stop shop for the client communication.
The visibility.
'Cause it's all through email right
It's
now.
the team. It's
Right.
when you have a team, and you said you now have 4 people.
Mhm.
When you have a team, you really have to think about the visibility of like where is that single source of truth.
Right, because in our case, like Jamie and I are the front figures,
Yeah.
but then Jeff is doing all
Jeff,
of
I
the
love
client the
Okay,
client stuff.
shout
Jeff's
out-
amazing.
Shout
Hi,
out for
Jeff, you're
Jeff Black.
awesome.
Yeah,
Jeff,
yeah.
you're
We miss you.
amazing. Your follow through
We
is
wish
amazing.
you were here in the booth with us.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
He could be Jeff CO.
Jeff CO.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
you're not taking Jeff from us.
No, you can't have Jeff.
We-
Jeff is
yeah.
ours.
If he needs to leave your firm and join us at some point, I don't know. I would never poach.
Yeah, no poaching our Jeff.
No
Everybody should have a
poaching.
Jeff, but he's our Jeff.
He's our Jeff.
He's
our Jeff.
awesome.
Yeah.
But it would be neat to see if Licia would actually solve that pain point for us, because we know what's going on with the client, but he's doing all of the client work. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it would be worth it for you to get a demo, and actually the folks that are at the show, if you're not using Licio, come over, and if you're seriously interested, don't do it if you're just going to do it to enter the contest, because you're just taking one of our staff's
That
time.
would be our daughter Grace. She probably interviewed.
Yeah,
Every
yeah.
raffle she could find.
Yeah, that's
There's a
okay.
lot of raffles
But
going
we're
on.
giving away. Jeannie Whitehouse gave us one of her level 5 advisory courses.
Oh, okay.
It's like a $6,000 value, and we get to by taking a demo. Well, not taking a demo, signing up for a demo, a serious one. Don't do it if you're not really serious about Licio. And then, or if you're a client already using Licio, we get a little testimonial from you.
Mhm.
So anybody can enter. But yeah, and if you're not serious about the demo, don't book the demo. Say, I just want to enter the contest, and we'll let you enter.
And
Well, we
speaking
don't
of-
want people to not show up,
And
right?
of course, here
Like,
in booth 2 at Royal Wise, we're auctioning off an iPad on Wednesday at 1
yeah, I
o'clock.
can see it. It's
Yeah, so we have
gorgeous.
a beautiful iPad here. And if you
Beautiful.
post us to your socials, come and do a testimonial and purchase anything, you might get an Alley Award.
Oh, see, those are so
That's how you get
awesome.
them. And you might not know these about these, but if you
Is there a
look at the
pink one?
bottoms, you can see what's inside.
Is there a pink one?
There probably is a pink
Because
one.
here's what we need. We need like the pink and the blue one, right?
There we go.
Here we go. So see.
She's making Alicia's
Wait,
logo out of
wait,
them. Yeah,
okay,
give her
here
the
we go.
pink one.
Pink. Oh no.
Yep.
This way.
Other side.
Why can't I do this? It's
There.
opposite.
It's all
I'm like,
mirrored, yeah.
yeah.
That's so funny.
Like cute.
Licia OWLS.
That's so cute.
Oh,
They
that
really
is-
are
that
adorable,
is super
Alicia.
cool.
Cute. Yeah, they're all full of like either little flowers or leaves
And
or
you made
D&D dice.
these.
I made all these.
Oh,
yeah.
I cannot
Yeah,
believe. See,
there's one full of
crafty-
rocks. We love the
I-
one full of rocks.
I think there's an Etsy store here going. I
Yeah.
think- yeah. I
So
think
hey, we're
Etsy.
gonna give some shout outs like we always do at the end of these. A big thank you to Insightful Insightful
Sorry.
Accountant. It's like the one word we say here every day, like 20,000 times. They threw a great party last night, and they celebrated the top 100 advisors, and
Oh
of
my
course the top
gosh,
10 advisors,
congratulations.
and the top advisor, and all of that. So all those announcements came out yesterday, and they threw a nice party. We had a really good time, and then we ninja'd some of the catered food out to the patio and threw our own after party. So that was super fun.
So fun.
Yeah, we discovered. I was there when all the staff was being to scoop out all these huge tins of
Oh,
food
it's
and throw it
nuts.
into the trash. I'm
It's
like, do you have
nuts.
to throw it away? And they're like, well, you can take it. So like, I made myself a little plate, and then I was like, there's a lot of drunk people in the bar downstairs who probably need food, and so I was like, can I take these? And the guys were like, I don't know. And so I asked Bob at Insightful Accountant, and he
He's
said,
like, heck yes.
sure.
The waste,
And,
the
yeah.
waste from parties is
Mhm.
oh my
We
gosh.
wandered around the patio with these big things of
And
and
desserts
just serve
and
them up
spoons.
and serve
Yeah.
them up.
Uh,
and
and
people were happy to see you.
people
weren't
were
they?
Well,
very
there's
excited.
another conference here too. Our Mark's here, and their folks were like, "Oh, this is awesome! Like, are you part of the hotel?" Like,
Are
no,
you
we're
sure?
part of the
We're
Scaling
part
New
of
Heights
the other
conference.
We're
So
accountants.
they
Yeah.
were just a little bit confused, but we all had a really
Oh,
good
That
time.
was a lot of
So fun. I'm so
Yeah.
glad you did that because food waste is that's one of the things that that's one of the downsides of conferences and things.
You got to make the
You know?
difference. You got to step in
Yeah.
and make the difference. And so,
And don't feel weird doing that, people. If you want to like take a doggy bag on the plane like I did, and by the way, the doggy bag on the plane is actually a barf bag, right? I put my extra food in the doggy bag, and the guy next to me, he's like, because I got upgraded to first class, which never happens. It was just because of status on American. But which I'm going to lose this year because, of course, I'm not doing all those long flights anymore yet. So I'm enjoying it while I have it. But I said I just started putting things in the bar bag. The guy's looking at me and he's like,
it's leak proof.
right.
And I said,
It's
actually,
grease-proof.
this is a perfect doggy bag. And I
You
was
don't-
laughing
you don't
so
know it
hard.
won't be barf later. You don't know.
I was
like-
laughing so hard. And he said, good for you. He said, I wish more people did that. And then he handed me his yogurt. Unopened, of course. Right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've done it once again. Another successful, hopefully our first successful live from the Owl's Nest at this conference. And we're going to check that audio and make sure it's sounding better.
So fun, you guys. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming
Absolutely.
by.
And, it's just, and I really seriously mean it. You really need to check out Alicia's stuff. I hope you'll share the link.
Yep, we're at royalwise.com.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there's so much information there for all of you. And it's really reasonably priced. And it's just like you're going to get so much out of it by having those books. Like, get the book. Books.
Or
Books.
join as a
Books.
member of the website and get
Yeah.
40 plus hours of video.
Oh, there's
on-demand
that
video
too. I'm
training
sorry. I'm
available.
undermining your business.
No,
model.
you're
No,
doing
not at all.
fine.
No.
Join. Do that.
We are here with books, lots of books, and she might even sign it if you ask her real nice. She's signed a couple books here and
I
there.
have signed a couple books.
Okay, with
I
that, I'm
have a signed
Jamie.
copy. at
I'm
home.
Alicia.
This is
I'm
Allison
Alicia.
and
Alicia.
Alicia.
Today I am.
And another successful live from the Owl's Nest. We will
See you in class.
Oh, look, my mask. See you in class.